This is the moment that life begins. A new human being has come into existence. At fertilization, her gender, ethnicity, hair color, eye color, and countless traits are already determined. Her cells organize into what we call an embryo. At 3 weeks and 1 day, just 22 days after fertilization, Olivia's heartbeat can be detected.
No, it can't. That's actually not true at all. And it is disturbing that that is the type of video that's now being mandated in certain public schools in the country as a result of conservatives winning the indoctrination war in our public schools. So what you just watched was Baby Olivia, a video that was made by an anti-abortion group about fetal development. It's filled with inaccuracies and propaganda meant to push an agenda. But some states across the country are now considering requiring public schools to show the video to both middle school and high school students. So we'll get to that shortly, but before we do, let's get to know the group behind the video. Live Action, the makers of the Baby Olivia video, describes itself on its website as leading pro-life advocates. The group says it exists today to shift public opinion on abortion and is dedicated to supporting a culture of life. They're against abortion in all cases, including in situations involving rape or incest. So it's also not too surprising that their video is not scientifically accurate. Aside from falsely claiming that a fetal heartbeat can be detected in just 3 weeks following conception, the video also describes the fetus's motions and actions in ways that are not at all backed up by science. Here's an example.
At the beginning of the 9th week, Olivia will have grown from a single cell into nearly 1 billion cells, and she is now called a fetus. She will suck her thumb and swallow, grasp an object, touch her face, sigh and stretch. At 11 weeks, she is playing in the womb, moving her body and exploring her environment.
There's no scientific basis for saying an 11-week-old fetus is playing in the womb. Medical experts say the video is misleading because of, well, a number of reasons. Number one, it mischaracterizes how soon fetuses can exhibit certain traits, and it uses a timeline for pregnancy 2 weeks earlier than is typical. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists said in an email that the video is anti-abortion misinformation designed to manipulate the emotions of viewers. Its leaders have played the animated video to legislative audiences, like during a session at a conference held last year by the Conservative American Legislative Exchange Council, also known as ALEC. Well, they're back in the news, great. And that has led to multiple states pushing for the video or something similar to that video being played in public schools, including in North Dakota, where it's already been passed into law, Kentucky, Missouri, Iowa, West Virginia. And just this week, Iowa's House of Representatives passed a bill requiring health classes in 7th grade through high school to show Baby Olivia or a comparable video. Iowa Representative Luana Stoltenberg, who is a Republican, said that she was impressed by the video's portrayal of science. Here's her quote. "What's the worst that can happen? Maybe a young child learns how they are developed and grow. And so if they become pregnant, they decide maybe I don't want to have an abortion. Is that a horrible thing? Would it be a horrible thing if we actually taught our kids to, read, do math, do the basic things that kids were typically able to do after graduating high school? Something that a lot of kids are struggling with today. Can we just get both sides to get the F out of education? Okay, this is just so all of it is so stupid, but like these kids are doomed. These kids can't freaking read and they're gonna watch Baby Olivia videos. Okay, congratulations, America, we're doing great.
We might have millions of people watching this show, but you can be the difference maker because we just need 1% of our audience to be paid members, and then this show can be around forever. So you can make that difference. Click join now. Okay, this story is about two things. One is abortion, the other is propaganda. And why the Republicans have decided to do propaganda on this issue aimed at kids is really interesting. But first, let's talk about abortion. So half the stuff they say in there is actually debatable, not just flat out false. They play around with when they start counting. Most doctors start counting from the end of your last menstrual cycle. They start counting from a theoretical conception, so they cut off 2 weeks, okay? But you can make that argument. They could debate that back and forth. They say that life begins at conception. Well, I don't think so. A great majority of people don't think so, but it's debatable, right? And that's a conversation you could have. That's a legitimate conversation. Now, but there are other parts of the video that are not at all legitimate. So for example, the kid starts playing in the womb at 11 weeks, totally made up. It's not a kid, it's a zygote until 10 weeks, and then it becomes a fetus. So it barely even exists at that point. It has no brain to play with. It doesn't make any sense. They're just using that to emotionally manipulate you when it has no basis in scientific fact. Then they say, oh, a heartbeat starts in, what is it, 6 weeks, 4 weeks, some insane number. Not even close to true. Those are electrical impulses. And if they go, oh, yeah, you're just finding a different word for it. No, you're not getting it. No heart exists at that point. At that point, it's a zygote. Later on, once it becomes a fetus, around 10, 11 weeks, the 4 chambers of the heart start forming. You don't get the 4 chambers and the blood pumping until 17 to 20 weeks in. So if you hear something else, it is a verifiable lie. It is done on purpose to deceive you because they're not winning the argument. They're losing the argument. The American people don't agree with them, which leads us to the propaganda. Why are they putting it in schools? Remember all the times that they said, oh, the liberals are trying to brainwash our kids. They couldn't actually point to anything political in the books. We never said you have to have this agenda or that agenda. Like they get upset if you just teach the history of, for example, slavery or racism or whatever. And they're like, oh, you're not telling the truth. You're indoctrinating kids with truth and history. That's not indoctrination, that's called an education. This, on the other hand, is, you can see, purposeful indoctrination and propaganda. And it turns out Republicans love it. They do it on purpose. Why are they targeting the kids though? That's weird, right? Why not try to win the election so you can get this law passed? Because they realize once they lost the ballot measures in Kansas, Kentucky, and Montana, that they are a significant minority. The overwhelming majority of the country, including in the reddest states, wants abortion to be legal. And these zealots, these religious fundamentalists that want to rule our lives with their despicable version of fundamentalist Christianity, say, well, we don't like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna brainwash the kids so that in 20 years, we'll win the ballot measures in the polls. We gotta go younger, do indoctrination, because we've already lost the country. So we have to regain the country by brainwashing the kids. These are the despicable people that run the Republican Party and that are the leaders of the right-wing movement right now.
Kids can't read in America. One of the richest countries in the world. Okay, back in the day, back before I realized how good we had it and how much things would devolve, let's say 2012, 2013, I remember, the story that we would cover all the time was how they were fighting back against comprehensive sex ed because they didn't want kids to learn about condoms. They were scared that kids would learn about birth control and condoms. Those were quaint times. Those were apparently the halcyon days, if you will, because things have devolved so much. But look, I know that I don't have a hopeful message here because they're gonna win and they're gonna implement this and that's it. Because anyone who wants sanity in the country, anyone who wants kids to actually get a decent education, they want good neighborhoods, good communities, a happy country, a united electorate, even if they have disagreements politically, that they're at least civil to each other and they'll cast their ballot and everyone respects it. Those days are over. Because you have so much greed and so much obsession with forcing your beliefs or their beliefs onto everyone else. Everyone's got to believe what they believe. That's what this is all about. Yeah. So there's no, I don't want to say there's no hope because that is such a dark thing to say on this show, but that's where I'm at right now. Yeah, so I've used this analogy before. Imagine if it's Muslim fundamentalists in North Dakota and all these other red states and they're like, no, we're gonna teach the kids that you are not allowed to draw the pictures of the Prophet Muhammad or any human being, because that's our beliefs. Everybody would logically say, yeah, brother, that's your belief, you don't draw it. Why are you teaching our kids that they're not allowed to draw? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. But when you take it and do it about some invented rule in Christianity, half the country goes, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we should force everyone else to believe what we believe. Why? Is it a free country or is it a free country? No, we should force them to do what we say because that's freedom. And we should take away their ability to control their own bodies. Can you imagine anything less in favor of freedom? Why? Because they're immoral and we're moral. F off. No, fight them with every fiber of your being.
these body snatchers, these right-wing zealots, the American Taliban want to go and tell you, no, you're going to do this, and your body's now the property of the US government. And you think you're against big government? By the way, read your Bible, Numbers 5:11 through 31. The Bible is 100% in favor of abortion. Your right-wing leaders are totally, utterly lying to you. You know how you could tell who's telling truth? Me or every one of these lying so-called church leaders in America? Read the Bible, Numbers 5:11 through 31. Go ahead, I dare you. You know what you're gonna find out? God loves abortion and commands you to do an abortion if you think your wife is cheating on you. It's a sad day for you. That's the reality of the Bible.
The final thing I'll say about this is in West Virginia specifically, the Republican-controlled state Senate has already greenlit a similar bill that would mandate that this video is shown to students in public education, but the bill does not explicitly grant an opt-out for parents. You know, because Republicans are super into parental rights and giving parents an option to opt out if they're unhappy with certain things that are being taught in school, especially certain things that are obviously promoted by a right-wing activist group that has a political agenda in mind.